Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Crypto founder says tokenized gold is coming to the XRP ledger, and it's going to be epic. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so fun fact about this actually, gold has actually already been tokenized on the XRP ledger in the past, so this actually isn't something new, but this is actually, just to let you know, this isn't actually a fact of what's being said here. This is just talking about people having confidence that it is going to come. I think that is likely, and what I say when I say that, because you might think I'm contradicting myself, because I obviously said gold has already been tokenized, I mean on a bigger scale, right? Because yes, it's been tokenized in the past, but it was on a very small scale. But I'm talking about like on a much bigger scale, and the reason why I say I think that it's likely that it is coming, it's just simply because as adoption comes, this is just what's going to happen. Like, I think, you know, tokenization on many different networks, well, the ones that have longevity, when I say many, I'm not talking like, you know, the 20,000 plus cryptos we have out there and however many networks. I'm talking like, you know, once regulations has come through and we see all the dust clear, I think there'll be a few networks that are still here, and those will be the ones that will have the long-term value. So I think when it comes to that, those networks out there, they'll have many forms of tokenization. And what you've got to understand is, you know, just because some gold is tokenized on the XRP ledger doesn't mean some gold can't also be tokenized on Ethereum, on the Hedera hash graph, on Cardano, for example, right? All these other networks. So, you know, tokenization, it's not going to be like one chain just rules them all, right? It's going to happen in many forms. So, do I think this could be something where the XRP ledger will get a piece of that pie? Yeah, absolutely. Why? Because I do think the XRP ledger is one of the better networks to tokenize on. I have done a video very recently with the CEO of Canary Capital, who's Steve McClug, and he's actually saying he believes that XRP, the XRP ledger will be the top network to tokenize on, right? And that's what he's saying. So I don't know when you guys will see this, because I do my videos in advance, so I don't know which video we'll put out first. But you know, if you stick around my channel, you'll see both of these videos at some point in time. But yeah, like what Steve was saying was very credible. You know, like he's saying how now Wall Street have got their eyes on XRP, and it makes a lot of sense, because you know, I was saying in the prior video, like when you look at what's going on with XRP now and all the moves that Ripple are making, which are going to be on the XRP ledger. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on XRP now. You know, I think they're going to be watching to see how this all unfolds. And I think a lot of people will start to look at the XRP ledger and asset as valuable if it's moving all these tokenized assets around. You know, it's doing cross-border payments. You've got the DEX. You know, you've got these clearing houses, you know, being built on the XRP ledger, etc., custody services, blah, blah, blah. You get the gist. If all these things are happening, it is going to lend that idea of, yeah, this is all happening on this network and the network's handling it, and, you know, can manage all this volume. Yeah, that's great. Like, this is a great technology. Maybe we should invest in this. How can we invest? Oh, well, the native asset is the XRP token. Okay, well, we'll invest in that. Do you know what I mean? It just makes sense. So yeah, like, they're talking about like why it hasn't happened up until now. And one of the main things that was said was like incentive, right? They're saying that, you know, like companies haven't really been incentivized to tokenize on the XRP ledger, which I actually, again, I would agree with that. And the reason why I say that is because we're still in the early stages of this crypto technology, right? As I said earlier, we haven't got regulations yet. And so you've got to understand that for a lot of these companies, until it's like completely clear, you're not going to have all the adoption coming through. You know, the reason why it's taken this long is partially because of, you know, regulations, right? There's no regulations, and we need that. And the other thing is, it's still very new. So a lot of people, yes, they are watching on the sidelines, but they're kind of seeing how it all unfolds. And that's how this stuff works. You know, like if you've seen Jamie Dimon, the CEO of, I want to say it's JP Morgan, I believe. He's definitely CEO of one of the bigger banks. I believe it's JP Morgan. He was going from saying like, oh yeah, you know, crypto is a scam and it's terrible, it's got no use, and you know, you should ban it, to, oh yeah, crypto's here to stay, it's great, we're going to be using it to do tokenized assets and stuff like that, tokenized deposits, blah, blah, blah. he's completely shifted. And that's the way it goes. You know, at first it's denial. It's, you know, trying to shut it down. And I think part of it is because of fear as well, because they are now vocalizing their worry of how crypto and, like, for example, yield on stablecoins is going to mess up the banks and their profits. They're openly saying this now, right? They're saying like, hey, everybody's going to like leave their millions and billions and trillions of money out of their savings accounts because they're getting absolutely no interest at all, pretty much like 0.01% or something stupid like that, because they can go and put money into stablecoins and get like 4%. Of course they're going to do that. So yes, the banks are very worried. So I think that was a part of it too. But they've changed their tune now. And so it's taken a few years for them to get there, but they've got there. And the rest of the world will follow suit, because what's going to happen is crypto technology will be embedded with your day-to-day life. The same way the internet is. Before, the internet was, you know, you can kind of go on it if you want to, you don't have to. Some people have got the internet, some haven't. The whole world now runs online. And if you think about that from the perspective of crypto, it could be, for example, as it embeds with traditional finance, you'll start to see that XRP and other cryptocurrencies are standardly being used now. This isn't a thing of choice anymore. There's day-to-day things now that you're doing that involves crypto. And so when it becomes standard like that, where it's just a part of your life, you'll learn more about it, right? That's how it works. And so that's when you're talking about people all being aligned with, okay, crypto is something that we can invest in. Crypto is something that we will utilize, etc. It's going to be a part of our lives. It's going to be something that we use on a daily basis, whether we know it or not. And that's where you'll start to see more and more value coming in, because people will invest in it the same way they would invest in like the stock market, for example. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasoning here in terms of the logic of, yes, people need to be incentivized at the moment. I get that. I do. But I think over time, that won't be the case. I think over time, people will be falling over each other to go and tokenize on these networks. That's what's going to happen. And XRP is one of the best networks that you can tokenize on. So yeah, absolutely. I think that this is very plausible and very possible. I think it's very possible. Because look, I think it's pretty much like, I can't guarantee anything. I don't do that. That's why I don't do like price predictions or anything like that. But I'm as confident as I can be that gold will be tokenized on a bigger scale. Now, to what degree, you know, we'll see, and what network, we'll see. But I definitely think it could be on the XRP ledger. But I definitely think tokenization of gold is going to happen. Tokenization of precious metals in general, like silver as well, like they'll all get tokenized. Everything of value will be tokenized. So it is going to come. It'll just be to what level is XRP involved in this, to what degrees like the XRP ledger used, and, you know, how much. That's really the question. So very interesting to see here. And, you know, once again, like the fact that they're talking about this for the XRP ledger, I think that's very valid. I think that's very plausible. But time will tell. And again, like, it might just be that X% is tokenized on the XRP ledger, and then X% is tokenized on Hedera or tokenized on Ethereum, for example, right? Or split across the three. Like, it's not necessarily got to be that when we talk about tokenized gold, it's all on XRP. Because again, I don't think that's realistic either. I think there can be different companies that will tokenize on different networks. So different percentages will be tokenized on different networks. So to me, it's not about getting the whole lot of that action. It's not about getting all gold tokenized on the XRP ledger. It's about getting the piece of the pie, right? Because that's just one thing amongst other things that will be tokenized, a value that will be on the XRP ledger, amongst other use cases that's also serving the XRP ecosystem, which is continuing to make it grow. So that's the way I see it personally, and I think this is definitely something that we should keep an eye out for, and we'll see how it goes, but definitely plausible. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell. Take care.